It's go time for fantasy football spring drafts. If your current site makes league updates difficult, switch to the site built by commissioners for commissioners. Flea Flicker offers email and live drafts, year-round access, lightning-fast live scoring, an easy interface, powerful commissioner and dynasty tools, brand new taxi squads, and mobile apps. Choose from 125 scoring rules and 12 NFL positions. And best of all, Flea Flicker is 100% free. Visit fleaflicker.com/footballers today.
All right. It's almost that time of year. The time when I set the foundation for supreme and total dominance at my fantasy football draft. How can I be so confident? Because I use the ultimate draft kit from the Fantasy Footballers. Man, it updates all off-season, so I never worry about using old busted information. Consistency charts, auction values, full projections. Oh baby, this thing's got it all. You want to keep it 100 for your draft? Head to ultimatedraftkit.com and get your copy today.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Mike Wright.
Oh! Great friend of the show, Matty Mac.
Matty Mac is, as his friends call him.
Matty Mac is on the attack.
If you haven't heard that, it's because you're not as close of friends as we are.
And what's crazy about that is that was actually just a phone conversation I had with him.
He just always sounds so good.
It's weird that he
He's so
puts
cool.
the music in the background of his phone calls.
It just plays behind him wherever he goes. If you've ever been in a restaurant with
I'm
him.
gonna have a cup of tea right now.
Bow.
Welcome in. We're back. It's Tuesday, May 8th. Andy, Mike, and Jason, the Fantasy Footballers.
You sounded a little disparaging to the 8th of May on that intro.
I did?
Yeah.
No, it's a great day.
It's May 8th,
Yeah.
and we're here.
Did you guys have a good weekend?
Oh, yeah. Had a great weekend. Had a party to celebrate my birth in which
That was
Mike
fantastic.
wore a sweater.
No, it's a romper.
It's a romper, bro.
Yeah, well, no, it was a romper made out of sweater material.
Sweatshirt.
Sweatshirt, yes.
It was a little warm.
That's why you had the chest open.
That actually is 100% why I had the chest open. If you want to know what we're talking about, Instagram.com/fantasyfootballers.
I wanted that picture posted with absolutely no context.
And it was. People had no idea what was happening.
Because Jason's wife put the party together and did a decade party, so you had to dress as a couple. You and your spouse had to come dressed as a couple from a certain decade, which I believe everybody came post 1960s.
Except you.
Yeah.
Except for me and my wife, who were 1840s.
Mm-hmm. Sounds appropriate.
Yeah,
that was,
it seemed
that was
about right.
actually to celebrate his birth.
Which, 1842, the year they invented briefs and Werther's Originals.
Yeah.
But it makes the picture all the better because I look like I'm from The River Runs Through It or something, and Mike's wearing a romper, and Jason looks like exactly how old he was when I met him, which was in the 90s, wearing his basketball shorts, or his, I guess they were long jean shorts and your basketball shoes. And
90s Jordans.
Brooks was there too, and Brooks is he's a perfect combination of like John Lennon, Elton John, and obviously Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
Of course.
But 1970s Paul Giamatti in this case. All right, we have a great show for you today. We got a great quick question talking about some rookie steals, some rookies we like outside the top 12 in terms of dynasty rookie drafts. We're going to answer a ton of questions from the Foot Clan, get into some news, including a big signing. C.J. Anderson signed today. We'll tell you who he signed with in just a minute.
Yeah, there's some good news and some bad news on the free agency front. But
That's-
we'll get
that's-
to that.
that's fair.
We'll get to
That's
that.
fair.
That's fair. Some good, some bad. That's pretty much how I define this show. Some good, some bad. All right, quick question of the day. By the way, you can find us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. The website's thefantasyfootballers.com. And we are, like less than a month away from the UDK.
Yes, we are.
And the rookie ranking's already up there, so if you've pre-ordered the Ultimate Draft Kit at ultimatedraftkit.com, you and Matthew McConaughey can hang out, check out the rookie rankings, and then get the whole kit.
No guarantee that Matthew's there.
No guarantee, but he may be. You never know. And you get access to a bunch of cool stuff. All right, favorite rookie that isn't a first-round ADP, and by ADP we're talking average draft position. So,
and by first round we're speaking exclusively of rookie drafts.
We're talking about the top. So, who's your favorite NFL rookie for fantasy? And I'm gonna condition this on value in a redraft league. Somebody that could have value this year.
Well, that changes my answer completely.
Oh, my answer still holds up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole point of asking whether they're a steal. Okay, I'll let you answer either way. That's fine, either way. But not the first 12 off the board is what we're saying. The first 12 rookies would go in that rookie first round.
I can give you 2 answers.
Yeah, all the top running backs and the tip top of the wide receivers are gone.
And there's some players that kind of jump out at you then. Anthony Miller, Chicago wide receiver, he's not going in that first round. A lot of people like him.
Here's a guy
I've got a left field guy, but go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, you do, which I disagree with wholeheartedly, but that's fine.
That makes me feel good about my pick, so thank you.
The guy that I think is probably one of the most underrated guys right now is Dante Pettis. Dante Pettis he didn't get a lot of press before the draft, so people weren't talking about him.
Who's Dante Pettis, Jason? Maybe tell the people who he is.
The wide receiver now playing for the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers traded up in the draft to go get him in the second round. This is high draft capital, and this is a team that needed a wide receiver. People expected them to be in the market for Allen Robinson and all Sammy Watkins. San Francisco needed one because Pierre Garçon is older, and Marquise Goodwin was a nice fill-in, but he's a field stretcher. He's not a 100-plus target type of receiver. So they trade up to get Dante Pettis, who was a very good producer in college. Great production. Some people out there really respected draft community guys like Matt Waldman had him as their number 1 wide receiver on the board, like out of all of them. And here he goes. Right now he's the 11th wide receiver being taken in fantasy drafts, despite the fact that the NFL thought he was the 4th best receiver to take. He's got path to
path to opportunity, up-and-coming quarterback, up-and-coming team with a good head coach.
Yeah, I love that.
There's all the reasons for that to be an
actually
good thing you said out loud, Jason.
Yes, I finally did it.
No.
And if you are in a league that rewards special teams, he will almost definitely be utilized in that way as well.
Yeah, my left field pick. I thought about going to Nyheim Hines in Indianapolis,
which I would enjoy very much
because he's
that would have been a good one.
He's very much in the running for me. Marlon Mack, I was bringing this up earlier on the way to lunch. Marlon Mack was 3.8 a carry last year, and that was with 6 runs of 20-plus yards. If he doesn't burst the big play, he's not doing it between the tackles down to down. And not that I think the tiny Nyheim Hines can do it, but I think there's opportunity for him.
There is
to
a
be
role.
That Tariq Cohen type guy. But now that's cheating because I got 2 answers. The one I'm going to bring up is Kalen Ballage. Arizona State running back, drafted by Miami, 4th round, 3rd fastest combine time, very fast, broken NCAA record, 8 touchdowns in 1 game. Never had so when you talk about producing collegiate running backs, he would have massive games and then he would be unproductive. He's a very big guy, tall, very fast, runs upright, which is not necessarily conducive to, breaking through tackles and things like that.
And runs straight.
Yes.
He still had a really good 3-cone. If you look at his 3-cone numbers, he's 69th percentile.
Yeah, which is bizarre when you watch him on film.
And that's kind of, I'm getting to my point here, which is that I think there's opportunity in Miami for somebody to break out. And I think the body, literal body of Kalen Ballage, I think we're going to see it in the NFL more than we saw it in college. I think he was built to play in the NFL. I think he's built to be a potential every down runner. So when you talk about a 2nd, 3rd round steal, he's at the back of the 2nd round in Dynasty rookie drafts, which, by the way, he's going ahead of Nyheim Hines, which surprised me. But I think Kalen Ballage is a potential redraft sleeper.
So my guy who, because I thought this was the question, which is who's your favorite rookie that isn't in the first round, and I went with Deshaun Hamilton because
Who's Deshaun Hamilton, Mike?
Thank you for asking, Andy. I appreciate it. He was drafted by the Denver Broncos and you're getting him in
What
rookie
position
drafts.
does he play, Mike?
Wide receiver.
Okay. All right. I'm helping.
I'm getting there.
Well, you got to start it.
You got to let me spin the yarn. You got to let me tell my tale of Deshaun Hamilton. In rookie drafts, you should be able to get him in the 3rd round, maybe even later. I've seen him in some 4th rounds. Out of Penn State, Matt Harmon, best friend of the show, Reception Perception, talked about Deshaun Hamilton as one of the most pro-ready wide receivers because his route running his technician level is already pro-ready. Now, he slipped a little bit in the draft. His production profile is not very large from college, but the quarterback play, little sketchy up there. So for where he went to this team of the Denver Broncos, he will be in play next year. This is not an immediate thing. This is fill up your stable, let him gain value. And I'm just very, very interested in players like this, like Hamilton and Chris Godwin last year, who are great wide receivers, but you're going to be able to get a good value on them because you have to wait. This is you're planting the apple seed. You're not going to get any fruit this season, or it's very unlikely. But it is very likely that the Broncos move on from either Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, or both.
You just
next
hope
year.
that the seed doesn't grow up into like Cody Latimer or something.
Sure.
That's the hope. But
but the reason why I like Hamilton is because this isn't Equanimous St. Brown. It's not a freak athlete who is just getting drafted because of that. He is an excellent wide receiver already. Let him work in the pros and build in it like Antonio Brown style. So I think Hamilton is a great stash later on in your rookie.
You heard it here. Hamilton, the next Antonio Brown.
Quote me.
All right.
There's no lose in this.
Foot Clan, do you want a signed Alvin Kamara jersey? Or I'm sorry, a signed Alvin Kamara football.
Yes.
A signed Le'Veon Bell jersey.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Well, we're giving those away to listeners right now. FootClanGiveaway.com, completely free to enter. Check it out, FootClanGiveaway.com, and you might walk away with a little Alvin Kamara football.
Funny story.
It's a regular size. It's not little. It's just a regular size football.
Yeah.
Right.
My son saw the photo of us, letting the people know that there's a Lev Bell jersey. He's like, "Hey, Dad, can I have that?"
Ooh.
I'm like, no.
If you could beat me in a race.
Why not? And it turned into a very, very long discussion of how he's not eligible to win this signed Le'Veon Bell jersey.
Interesting. He's got some
he loves Lev.
some fandom.
Yeah, he plays Madden a lot.
Like mobile or on the
on the Xbox. Yeah.
All right. From time to time, we like to read a little review from the listeners. We always appreciate you going to Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening and supporting the show. So we're going to do that right now, and only the way that Jason can.
Review-a-Saurus Rex.
This one comes in from Capocono. Get a better username, Capocono.
What is Capocono?
Capocono. That's better. Good job, Capocono.
I like how Mike was like, no, it's obviously Capocono.
All right. It says 55. 55 stars if I could. Great mix of comedy, dad jokes, and valuable insights. It's May, and I'm an active listener weekly. 5 stars. Next question.
Oh, well, thank you, Capocono. We appreciate your reviews, and it's nice to hear that people enjoy the show during this time of year where maybe you've never listened to a fantasy football podcast before in the off season. Maybe you don't know what the value is. We try to keep you entertained. We try to keep you ready for the season. And with that comes this very big-time news that just broke.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, the Carolina Panthers have made a splash, gentlemen. They've signed one of the last remaining what we deemed valuable free agents. C.J. Anderson is now a Carolina Panther. 1-year contract, and he's going to walk right into a role that suits him well. Jonathan Stewart is gone. I believe they are missing 202 carries from last year. And so in the meantime, we've sat there and we've said, well, Cameron Artis-Payne is the only guy left there to kind of step into that role. Christian McCaffrey is going to have to carry the ball more. And instead, C.J. Anderson lands in Carolina. And again, I like Carolina this year. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't like C.J. Anderson. But I like C.J. Anderson for this.
Right.
This is the role for C.J. Anderson. Don't make him a 3-down guy. Give him 175 carries. That's what he's going to get. That's where I think he'll be. 175 carries. He'll probably score 6 or more times. And I think it's very interesting. The question I have for you guys is, what happens to Christian McCaffrey and how you had looked at him? And did you ever really expect McCaffrey to – I mean, he's not going to carry the rock 250.
No, it's not going to be 250, but just a shade under 200 I thought was in the realm of possibilities for Christian McCaffrey if Cameron Artis-Payne was the only grinder thumper on the roster. But C.J. Anderson is a very good running back. We do differ on our opinion of Anderson, but we don't differ on thinking that this landing spot is actually okay. It's not Indianapolis Colts good, where he would walk in
as the clear star,
as the clear guy. I think he is the clear guy. I think he'll have the most carries on this team, and I would actually slot him in for more than 175. Jonathan Stewart was at 198 in 15 games last year. I think he'll come very close. He'll give a little smooch.
Yeah, I actually have them at identical carry counts. C.J. Anderson and Christian McCaffrey. I have them both at 175.
I think it'll be much heavier in Anderson's direction.
Yeah, you've got a new offensive coordinator. That's one thing we've got to keep in mind.
Well, he's not really new.
Sure,
Jason.
he's not new in the sense
he's 500 years old.
He's been around the block in Norv Turner, but we can't just look at how they called the offense last year and think, okay, he's coming in as the Jonathan Stewart replacement. The carry counts will be the same. Norv Turner historically has had a predominant back. And if I had the backfield with Christian McCaffrey and C.J. Anderson, two players that I legitimately think are both good, I would give the lead to Christian McCaffrey. So I do think this is a good landing spot for just about everyone involved. I think it'll keep Christian McCaffrey healthy. I never expected CMC to be up, near those total touches of around 300. And, there's definitely worse spots that C.J. Anderson could have gone as a dynasty owner. I'm happy with this.
Okay. Matt Ryan, 5-year extension. $100 million guaranteed.
That's a lot.
Did we mention that on the show already?
I don't know, but it's worth mentioning.
I feel like
again.
we mentioned that you can make $100 million and still not be able to throw the ball in the red zone. I think that's what we mentioned. So that's a good deal. Maybe it was on the Footcast. Jason Witten is officially retired from the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Goodbye. He's the GOAT.
That's all you got?
Well, Jason Witten is...
Whoa, bigger news.
Yeah,
that's more important.
That's why I was done.
Jason, I don't know if you know this.
It's not all laughs and giggles on the fantasy football.
No, sometimes things get serious.
Coby Fleener he's been released by the Saints, Jason.
Yeah,
they said, fleen you later.
Yeah, that was a match.
No, I can't remember.
That was like a match.
Was he really good?
You got a match made in heaven. This was like a match made on Tinder. This did not work out. This was poor, but on the bright side, Ben Watson. Huh? Anybody out there want to get in on some good? I love me some Ben Watson.
Same age as Norv Turner, actually. What's funny is I remember when Coby came to the Saints. I've never reflected on this, so I didn't know what I was going to find. And I was joking that here's his reception counts in Indianapolis, 52, 51, 54. Do you know what he had his first year on the Saints?
Probably about 50.
50.
There you go.
50. And then last year, that slipped down to 22 receptions. And, a beautiful 22 they were, but they just decided to move on. Coby Fleener can't be your sleeper now, Jay, until he's picked up by someone else.
No. Coby is he's dead to me. Coby is gone.
What if he ends up in Seattle?
We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Gosh.
No, Coby.
I bet
Coby
about
Fleener
50 receptions.
Coby Fleener is not long for the NFL, and I don't even know that he'll sign anywhere. But if he does, he's not going to be fantasy relevant.
Marcus Wheaton, 1-year contract with the Eagles. Elijah Penny, who is the Cardinals' backup running back, he's going to transition to fullback and tight end. The Cardinals invested a 4th-round pick on Chase Edmonds,
who's very good,
and almost invested a 3rd-round pick on him.
This is official. We had alluded to this on the last show, but Chase Edmonds is the backup. He is the handcuff for David Johnson.
Elijah Penny is brothers of
Correct.
of
Rashad.
Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
Rashad is a lot better.
Oh,
Sorry, but
Why you gotta
I
do
love.
that?
I'm not putting down Elijah. I'm lifting up Rashad.
Elijah
right.
Penny made it. He finally made it to the news section, and Jason has to besmirch him.
No, I'm not
Undrafted.
besmirching him by saying, "Hey, your brother is really good at football."
TBD.
Bet you wish you were him.
TBD. We'll
Good
see.
at college football.
There you go.
That's true. There you go.
All right, before we move on, we want to thank pristineauction.com for supporting today's podcast. Great friends of the show. Here's some things that were recently auctioned. So this is yesterday. And the prices. Signed, Tyreek Hill Chiefs jersey, $52.95. Signed, Adam Thielen Vikings Color Rush jersey, $73.71. Signed, Devontae Adams Packers logo football, much like the logo football that we're going to be giving away with Alvin Kamara.
hot.
This is $46.69.
Oh,
Signed, Jordan Howard jersey, $74. The list goes on. Hundreds of daily auctions. All JSA authentic signatures. And you can snag them right now. Just go check it out. Completely free to register an account and browse all of the auctions. Find your favorite player, favorite team. pristineauction.com, Pristine, auction.com.
Yeah, we also want to thank Sherry's Berries. Mother's Day is coming up.
So soon.
And Sherry's Berries is an excellent gift. It is a treat to receive. If you haven't had them before, they are delicious. Huge berries, these strawberries that are covered in milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate. It's awesome. Right now, you can get for $19.99 plus shipping, you can get an entire gift of Sherry's Berries. And they come like wrapped for you, so you don't even have to worry about doing the gift wrap. You can double your berries for $10. That's a good deal with our
love
promo
to double
code.
my berries.
You pick the delivery date; it's guaranteed, and their customer satisfaction is number one. It's you're happy or you get your money back. They also have other great treats like cake pops, cheesecake bites, chocolate truffles. So look, there's only one way to get the amazing deal: $19.99 plus shipping and handling. Go to berries.com, BERRIES.com, and use the promo code footballers. Don't forget, you could double your berries for $10.
There you go. You got the whole word berries spelled out.
I
Just
wasn't
right,
sure
Jay.
if you were going to stick the landing or not.
All right, let's
You look a little moist over there.
so many questions for the off season. Let's answer them.
Mailbag.
Oh, it's time. Yeah! All right, visit our website, thefantasyfootballers.com, to submit your question to the show. Or you can dial our voicemail hotline, 302-464-TFFB. Oh, so easy. Unless you mess up your voicemail, and then you have to do it again.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
And we hear both.
Yes,
we hear both
we
of them.
do.
We hear the, oh, crap, and then hang up.
I'll call right back.
I'll call right back. But if you do leave a voicemail, try to keep them brief and to the point so we can answer them and get more questions in on the show. And so let's listen to a voicemail.
Hey, ballers. I was just calling with a question about how to deal with trader's remorse. You guys talk about liking a lot of activities in your league, so I was just wondering how you handle losing a trade if you trade all the time, and then how you get over that for next year or even in the same season making another trade. Definitely dealt with that in the past. Just wondering if you guys have any tips. Thanks. Bye.
Talking about the tilt.
He is.
He's talking about the, oh, shoot, I made a mistake, and now you overcorrect, which is to say you make another mistake. Right?
Yeah, he's talking about me last offseason when I really wanted to get LaShawn McCoy's handcuff, who, as we all know, is Jonathan Williams. Am I right?
Hey.
So I trade Kenyon Drake a 2 for Jay Williams and a 3, and then Jonathan Williams was cut about a week later.
So that didn't work out?
Well, considering that I moved back from the second to the third and I don't have Kenyon Drake on my team, it didn't go very
Did
well.
not work out that well in the long run.
Just like the rest of us, Mike.
So how do you deal with it when you do those things?
That trade right there is hard to rationalize because rationalization is the key to all of this. You need to find some small sliver, some silver lining, some it worked out better for my team because of X. Now that one
There's no.
Who'd you draft in the third round, Mike?
I
hope it was a superstar.
No, this year I think I used that pick on Deshaun Hamilton.
See,
Well,
you
there
got to
you
go butterfly effect with that. Like, boy,
Yeah.
if I had never traded Kenyon Drake
there's
in
no
my
way.
2 I never would have had Deshaun Hamilton.
You have to be like an NBA 3-point shooter who has a bad day, who's not hitting shots, and you just keep cranking them up. You want a lot of transactions in your league.
You got to keep
forget about it. It's the I threw an interception. So what? It doesn't help me to think about it and just move on.
What is that? The do your best, forget the rest.
Oh, is that some Tony Horton?
Tony
over there?
Horton in there.
Whoa!
He's very motivational.
I love Tony, but
He'd
Jason is right. That you're not going to win every single trade. It's just not going to happen.
Listen to me, because I loved Kenyon Drake, and I called you a fool when that trade happened.
Wait,
So,
that's the lesson?
That's the real
Listen
lesson
to me,
here.
Coby
Yeah.
Fleener.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Damn.
All right.
Bad timing.
All right, let's jump into a question off of Twitter from Dan Jensen, whose name sounds a lot like Dan Jansen. Mike, you remember Dan Jansen?
I do not.
Dan Jansen? Famous American speed skater?
This is
Wait.
what
I call him.
Wait.
I call Jason Dan Jansen at the trainer every week because we do these.
you got bands around your
Yeah, you put
ankles and
these
you do
ba-
like speed
You're
skating.
supposed to do these speed skating moves, and you don't remember Dan
Nobody
Jansen?
remembers
You-
Dan Jansen.
All my Dan Jansen truthers come to Twitter.
How many speed skaters do you know besides Apollo Ono?
Dan Jansen.
Okay,
What?
that's,
He was
that's where it
very
stops?
famous. Brooks, can I get a what?
No, he's not.
No
gonna know
idea.
Dan
Yeah.
Jansen.
Gosh dang it. Google it, you bunch of.
I googled it, and when I
Uncultured
saw him, I
swine.
went, "Why do you know this?"
Well, Dan Jensen has a question.
All right.
What do you think is Julio Jones' fantasy football outlook 2018 and beyond? In Dynasty, where are you buying, selling? What price are you buying, or what would you want in return for him?
Wait, are you buying or selling? What is happening?
I guess
Dan?
he's wanting a lay of the land. You know, what's the temperature
All
check
right.
on him, both in 2018 and in Dynasty?
Especially interested in what you'd get back for him as a Julio owner myself, is what he says.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as redraft 2018 outlook, I'm still very much on Julio Jones. I finished statting him out today, looking they don't have the best strength of schedule coming up against the pass. Projection-wise in 2018, he usually loses about 2 targets a game when they play a top 15 defense, but I still have him over 150 targets this year, even with Calvin Ridley there. So you're talking about an absolute top-end stud. He's 29 years old, already turned 29, so he's going to be 29 this season while he's playing, and I expect that he's got a solid, really
I love
solid
him.
3 years.
I mean, the reason that you ask this question and have a twinge of sadness in your question is because he didn't score a lot. That's it. That's the only reason you can be disappointed. 16.4 per catch, 88 receptions, 1,444 yards receiving.
Yes, 1,400 yards.
That's what I'm saying. So I have him in the same boat. I've got him in that 85 for 1,400. I think he'll bring those touchdown totals up. We had one of our writers, our editor, actually.
I was going to bring it up. Thank you.
He went through and looked at every single red zone target for Julio Jones this past year. A lot of this falls on the shoulders of Matt Ryan, and a lot of it seemed to fall in the bad luck category this year. When you have as many red zone targets as he has, you don't normally end up with 3 touchdowns. I've got him down for 6 this year, and I don't think that that's going crazy.
That's exactly what I have him down
There
for.
are
So that's a bounce back candidate.
Yeah.
Despite the fact he had 1,400
There are
yards.
so few elite wide receiver ones in the NFL these days, and I'm with Jason that I think Julio Jones can easily sustain that level of play for at least 3 years. So he's still in my – if you're just talking like a dynasty startup, I would still take him in that mid to late first round.
The only other problem I will point out with Julio before we move on is you said the only thing you could criticize him on, Andy, was essentially his touchdowns. He had a lack of touchdowns.
Well,
but he
which
also,
is his career issue. But
Yes,
yeah.
career-wise, I would agree with you. But this last year, he definitely had a ton of production come in 2 or 3 games that really elevated his season total. And but on a week-to-week basis, he did let you down more often than Julio of old. But I expect a bounce back this year.
All right, let's jump into another voicemail question.
Hey guys, this is Ken from Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. just got a question for you guys. Why does Brooks always cover his face in photos? Just curious, happened to see it on your Instagram and never could understand why. Thanks for taking my question,
I honestly don't have any idea.
Bye.
Brooks, you cover your face in photos?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
No, I've never seen.
I'm looking at Brooks right now, full face.
As am I. Brooks, your whole face is there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good-looking face.
Decent.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. I'll have to go check the tape on this. This is one of those things you just don't really remember.
Oh, he's kind. I mean, I will admit he's a bit of a mysterious guy, but that's what.
Yeah.
When you're in the limelight, when you're in he's in a major Showtime production right now, billions, and when you're in the limelight, it's what do you expect? He's also starring with The Rock on Jungle Cruise, a Disney movie coming out soon.
Yeah, congrats on that.
You got that? You booked it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Congratulations.
The judge booked it. And so you don't always want to be recognized because of autograph requests and things like that. Aaron in Connecticut, how do you guys come up with your league schedule? Like who plays who each week, and is there anyone in particular you look forward to playing each year? We can definitely tell you how we do it.
Yeah, you should answer this one, Andy. In our League of Record, you have been the commissioner. I will just interject and say that the team that I look forward to playing the most every year is Andy Holloway, because we've been in the same division. We're big proponents of divisions for this exact reason. You get rivalries, just like in the NFL. You've got the team that you play more often, and you've got your arch nemesis, if you will, and that would be you.
Yeah, and what we do is we formulate our schedule by we have 3 divisions, and we want to make sure we're playing our division mates twice and then a random allotment of the other players.
12 teams.
12 teams. The way I accomplish that is actually if you go to schedules.footballguys.com, they have had for a long, long time a really, really nice schedule maker. So if you need to input your own schedule or make something customized, you can make it so that each team plays 3, certain teams a certain amount of times. That's what I utilize every year to build it out for our custom league because I want to play. We start the year division mates, middle of the year we play everybody, end of the year division mates. We've always loved it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, this one off of Instagram. From RyPat7301. Where is the highest you would consider drafting David Johnson, and how does the Josh Rosen selection affect his stock?
The highest I would spend a draft pick on David Johnson would be the 103. That's the absolute highest. I'm not saying I will for sure or not, but Le'Veon Bell and Todd Gurley are still in front of David Johnson. If you want to make the argument that he is locked and loaded the third guy on that list, that's an argument that I'll engage in.
That's the one that I currently would make. I have him ahead of Ezekiel
like Zeke?
Elliott.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I've done stats on both those teams, and I do have him ahead of Zeke.
I would say the highest I would consider it would be the 2 spot. Lev Bell is locked in as the 1, but I would at least consider it at 2.
Over
but
Gurley?
I probably wouldn't draft him until 4. I think I would take Zeke even ahead of him. As far as Josh Rosen, I think it affects him positively in dynasty, in longer term outlooks, and I guess it's a positive because who thinks Sam Bradford's going to play 16 games?
Right.
So it helps a little, but in redraft for the most part, it didn't change any ranking.
All right, Javen.Davis on Instagram says, where's the best place to find leagues with other listeners?
Oh, FootClanLeagues.com.
Absolutely.
That's the easiest question we have ever had to answer.
Yeah, we have a community of listeners at jointhefoot.com, and if you join that community, you get access to a ton of things, including an extra episode, and one of those is access to FootClanLeagues.com, where you can make online leagues, local leagues, people connecting over there all the time, because if you don't have good league mates, your league is no fun. It doesn't matter if you dominate.
Agreed.
And eventually, if you are dominating a bunch of people that don't pay attention, that wears off in 10 to 12 years.
You can find other people. Let's say you're in a good league and you lost somebody and you need to find an extra player, and it's a local league. You can go on there and find your local area and be like, hey, I need one more, and you might just make a new best friend.
You never know.
Or meet your significant other.
Yeah, you can meet
It's happening all the time.
I'm still waiting for the first Foot Clan marriage, and we will go to that.
Do we
wedding.
need to start a ballers dating thing?
No, thank you.
Instagram question from Warren Ayers. How underrated is Duke Johnson? It's his final year on his rookie contract, and he capitalized the word final, so I know it's legit. Final year of his rookie contract, and I don't think Chubb is a real threat to steal any passing work. So do you agree with the inference here that Duke Johnson is underrated.
Yes and no. I mean, I think he will be underrated because he's going to pretty much go undrafted, and he will do more than
No way.
No.
Sixth, seventh round.
6th, 7th round.
I was going to go 7, 8 area.
Yeah, that's fair.
If he goes in the 6, 7, 8 area, then he's not underrated.
Yeah, I think he'll go where he should. You're talking the fewest amount of targets he's ever had is 74. Went 74, 74, 93. He has a role in fantasy football. His ceiling is...
They call it the Jarvis Landry role.
Jarvis Landry is...
Yeah, they call it the Theo Riddick role.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry is... He's going to eat into some of Duke Johnson's workload. So that's what I was going to say. Is his ceiling is capped.
Right now,
but
it
PPR,
appears...
he's perfectly fine.
Right now, it appears in at least this is standard, which obviously he'd be lower. He's going around the 12th round.
Yeah, standard. I have little to no interest in Duke Johnson, but half and full PPR, you pick him up.
All right, Instagram question from Braun Inslee. Do you guys ever get irrational gut feelings that end up messing up how you draft? For instance, I'll often not draft a guy just because I have some weird feeling in my gut. He will get hurt or something or is due for a random bad season. What do you think about the irrational gut feelings that can disrupt a draft?
My irrational gut feelings are positive, not negative. I don't ever miss out on a player, which I think is like the better way to strike out, because you're going to strike out on guys. You're going to get a guy and he's not going to be good, no matter whether it was gut feeling or just consensus ranking. Either way, nobody's going to get this thing perfect. So, like, for instance, based on my film study and what I like and what draft capital, we've talked about this, I like Kerryon Johnson. I've got a gut feeling that he's going to be a good NFL player. So I might take him a round higher, and that might backfire on me because he ends up sucking and he's terrible. But I can deal with that a lot easier.
Well, that's not really an irrational gut feeling, though, because that's a rational mind choice. I mean, you literally said based on all of these evidences, I like him. You didn't have an irrational feeling about him.
I guess I'm just trying to make this listener feel better.
Well, yeah, it's harder for us to say that because we're knee-deep in it at all times, so our gut feelings are coming out of things like that. But we do have players that we tend to not want on our rosters or stay away from, and that's cost me. I mean, I've never been a big Carlos Hyde fan, but had I owned him at various points in the past 3 years, I would have been very, very happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that we all are susceptible to the burns of years past. So if a guy, you draft him and he plays for you and he doesn't perform for you, maybe you are irrationally keeping him off your roster. I think that happens.
And I'll say for injury, having a gut feeling about someone getting injured is probably because he just got hurt. And there's the misnomer especially in fantasy football that, this guy is now injury prone. You're injury prone until you're not. So I
see Greg Olson.
Yeah, I just don't
in the inverse.
I just don't buy into that argument at all. But to make you feel better, the reason you have a gut feeling about a player doing well is because you're playing the game. You are absorbing a lot of information, whether it's this podcast, reading up on stats, watching them play, breaking down analytics. Those all translate into what you call a gut feeling. But like Jason said, it's based off of a whole bunch of information.
Now sometimes I will say this. So when it comes to draft season, not so much, right? There's just too much information like what you're talking about. But on a week-to-week basis,
but that even
daily
then,
fantasy. No, I have in the past made a shot at a player on a week based on a dream. So that has happened once. And I do believe Ryan Matthews scored a touchdown that week. So we're okay.
I was going to say, I guess there has been the occasional irrational decision.
But that's not a gut feeling.
Coby Fleener.
That's you put on your Technicolor dream coat.
Yeah. All right.
Get out of here.
Jack Wheeler, 77 from Instagram. Who has a better year? Joe Mixon or Dalvin Cook? By the way, you can follow us on Instagram at Fantasy Footballers.
This is a great question. I like both guys this year. I'm definitely taking Dalvin Cook. I believe Dalvin Cook is, he was on pace to have an unbelievable year. Everything they've done to the offense, I like. If he's healthy, I just don't see how he is not a top 10 back. And Joe Mixon could be, but I see plenty of ways. a la, looking at last year, that he won't.
I will say this for Dalvin Cook. Because I'm generally speaking with you. I want him on my fantasy team. The only unknown for Dalvin Cook, we have not seen his usage with a healthy Latavius Murray. Murray was going to be the starter, but then he never got healthy for training camp, and Dalvin Cook came in and impressed. Go look at what happened.
That's not what happened. When they signed him, he had already had the ankle problem. And
right.
Then before knowing his recovery, they traded up and drafted Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I'm not saying what I am saying is they both will be used, and I think that people are undervaluing Latavius Murray and thinking they're just completely writing him off, and they're saying Dalvin Cook is a 3-down workhorse who's going to get 260 carries and 80 targets.
Two things. One, I did my stats on both these guys, and I have Dalvin Cook about 15 fantasy points ahead of Joe Mixon. Number two, I hope your entire argument that you made right there, you're willing to make that same argument for Kareem Hunt and Spencer Ware. Because everything you said right there, I could have substituted those two names in there. You've never seen them play together. Spencer Ware had the opportunity. Both teams traded up for Dalvin Cook, traded up for Kareem Hunt, and we've never seen them coexist together. So I think that's the same reason I have hesitancy about Kareem Hunt. Not that he isn't great, but because I haven't seen those things, I'm going to put my chips on the side of the teams and the opportunities that I know for sure.
That is all true, except the one variant here is that between at least Kareem Hunt's situation and Dalvin Cook's is that Jerick McKinnon is also gone, and they didn't replace him. So that's in the favor of
Dalvin.
Cook.
Yep.
All right. This next question comes in from Music K Josh on Instagram. Best advice for your first dynasty draft? You got any good advice for?
Absolutely.
First one?
Your first one. Do not overvalue youth. Let the rest of the people go crazy for their rookies and unproven players.
Winning now is just as satisfying as winning later.
Yeah,
even better.
And that build your team every single year to compete. Wild things happen when you make it into the tournament. You get a big week here or there from a player, and all of a sudden you're a champion. While everyone is looking at the draft, next year's rookie draft, saying, "Yeah, in 2 years, I'm going to have a juggernaut," and then they just never, ever do. So look for the value in veterans who are just dropping to the middle rounds because people are thinking they're old and yucky.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a fair point. These next two questions maybe are my favorite. First from Instagram, Ryan Bambury. Andy's hit single Josh Rosen is tearing up the country charts. Is he available for co-writes?
Oh, are you available?
Yes. I'm available.
Also, what charts?
The country charts. The country charts. You've never heard of them?
Is that a .com? How do I check them?
I guarantee you, as long as you can sort by fantasy football songs, I guarantee I'm number one. Yeah. No. Twitter at
1 out of 1.
Still number one. Dominating the charts. Tom in Distress off of Twitter at Tom in Distress.
So sorry, Tom.
Here's a question. Why does Jason hate Ronald Jones's tape, and is Jason sure he is watching the right Ronald Jones?
When I say that I hate Ronald Jones's tape, when I watch these players, I am watching them for the transition to the NFL. That's my only purpose. So when he gets in space, he's electric. He's great. The tape is great. But he's not a pass-catching back. That means it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get him into open space. He's going to be running up through the middle of the line, and he doesn't have the body. What is he, like 205?
Yeah.
And so that was my concern, was where he projects to be used in the NFL is where I didn't like the film. But I will readily admit, you get that guy in open space, he is electric, and he went to the best case landing spot for him that I could possibly
You know what's funny is I see parallels with the Ronald Jones landing in Tampa and the Jerick McKinnon landing in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Where I think there were outcomes for Jerick McKinnon's offseason and Ronald Jones' draft that could have been real bad.
Yeah, terrible.
For either
Garbage.
player. And I think they both ended up in situations where you're like, wow, I can see fantasy production from both of those players. Maybe top 24 production. So, all right, let's close it off with this question here from Mark Downey 2026 on Twitter. This will be a good one for.
He was born in the year 2026.
Impressive.
Yeah. Well, he's preemptive strike there on that on that handle. You got to start grabbing those. Then when the real Mark Downey from 2026 is born, 20 years later he comes
him hostage.
He comes looking, and guess what? This Mark Downey, assuming he's still alive, makes some sweet
He's
cheddar.
He's gonna get a sweet $75.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably be like what?
Space bucks.
Yeah. That's right. That's where I was going. Crystalloids.
Bitcoin.
Is Derrick Henry a hold or sell in dynasty leagues? Half-point PPR. That is a great question, and I'd love to hear Mike's answer.
For me, he is a hold right now because the value of Dion Lewis has, I think, really brought him down. I still like Derrick Henry, and I like Dion Lewis moving forward, but unfortunately, that hope that you held on to for 2 years while Derrick Henry was buried behind DeMarco Murray you will not get to see what you've been waiting 2 years for.
Yeah, I would agree. He's a definite hold. We said when DeMarco got cut, he was a trade candidate because trade him for the value. People are trading him like he was a locked and guaranteed top 10 back. It's too late now, and Dion Lewis has injury history. I mean, I think Derrick.
So that makes him a hold for both of you.
Yes.
It's interesting because you brought it up already, but I was going to muse on the fact that, when you talk about trade regret, like Mike, you were talking about that trade from last offseason, sometimes you find regret in not moving a guy when they have perceived value because you enter the season and Derrick Henry could prove everybody – he could prove out to not be a hold, not be a keep for Dynasty. Could also prove to be better. So you kind of evaluate that now. You said it's too late. I'm not sure if everybody's perception of that situation is that it's too late to trade Derrick Henry for value. I guess a hold is the right play on that one.
I mean, if
tough though.
If someone out there still sees Derrick Henry as a locked and loaded, top 10 running back, then sure, trade him for that value. I pretty much
that goes for all players.
Yeah, that goes for all players. It's funny you say you regret not trading someone for perceived value.
Joe Williams last year, I could have had way more value for Joe Williams trading him in the offseason than waiting for him to flame out.
If you can ever trade a guy for his potential value, do it.
Right.
Because worst case scenario, I mean, barring other, side injury, is you're getting him, okay, he does blow up, but you got that value.
That's why I never understand why people have no trade players on their roster. Like, I think that's such a hindrance for you in fantasy football is I never trade that guy. Because I feel like if somebody wants a player on your team, you should dictate terms back to them. And then if they don't want to give up that cost, but just saying, no, they're not available. I don't understand why you would ever do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a Le'Veon Bell, it's going to cost so much. I already know you're not going to pay it, but you're right. I mean, say, look, I want your team.
Well, I mean, there was the great loser, Brian Ketchrin, one of our listener league guys. He sent me a couple trade offers, and I'm curious. Maybe we'll inadvertently help him, which would be a shame. Alvin Kamara, right? Somebody's coming after Alvin Kamara in a dynasty league.
Okay.
And it was Melvin Gordon and next year's first-round pick for Alvin Kamara. What would you do?
Oh, give me Melvin Gordon and next year's first.
And my answer to that was I would only do that if I thought the pick was going to be somewhere in the top 3.
Yeah, I side more with Andy.
I've got Melvin Gordon ahead of Alvin Kamara this year, so pick up an extra first
this year.
Well, yeah, so that makes sense. But, you just made your blanket statement, Lev Bell, I would never trade him. But I think our difference of opinion right there illustrates the fact that that's why trades can get done. Because if we were in that league and I said, I'm never going to trade Alvin Kamara, and then you came and you're like, right. Oh, I'll give you Alvin Kamara for Melvin Gordon, I'd be like, sure. No, just straight up. Apparently.
Well, I wouldn't do that in a dynasty because of age, but
that's what we were just talking
about.
But
a 1 and a first, absolutely.
Melvin Gordon is 25 years old.
The thing about Melvin Gordon, though, for his
Alvin Kamara
age
is 22 years old.
Is oh wait, is he on the 4th year or is he on the option right now? I think he's
Gordon.
Maybe he's just
Gordon's
in his
on the 4th year.
Okay, so no, I take it back. I would trade for Gordon and the first. I was thinking he was on his option, and just seeing what has happened to these veteran running backs when they're trying to get that second contract
it's tough
is
in the
bad
streets,
news.
Man.
He's next year he plays at the base salary of 5.6, and then he is in unrestricted in 2020.
Yeah.
Man, to me, that whole dynasty first-round pick, though, that rookie pick, where that lands matters so much.
Oh, big time.
You think about this year, grabbing a guy at the 9 or 10 in that draft versus the first 3-4 picks.
But the thing is you can then utilize your first with that first. Let's say you have a good, and you could trade the number 8 and the number 11 to move up to the number 5 and grab the actual.
I guess that
impact
just
player.
depends on your perception of Kamara.
And mid-season, your power to go and get a player and say, hey, I'll give you this. And a shiny first-round pick, Mr. Rebuild.
You see Adam Rank has Alvin Kamara number 1 overall this year?
Really?
I don't think that's an outlandish prediction. This is the one thing that gets messed up since we're just musing at this point. This gets messed up in the community, right? In the fantasy community is there's a number of players that can finish in that spot. And I don't think there's anything wrong with taking your shot on a guy like that. Like if somebody wanted to go out there and make Saquon Barkley the number 1 fantasy running back this year as a prediction, it doesn't bother me.
Barkley actually bothers me less than Kamara, just because of sheer volume.
Yeah, but what was he last year and his volume could go? I'm just saying, what if he is what he is and his volume goes up? Like it's not that far of a gap for a player like that to do it. It's just interesting to me that we're like, oh no, you can't do that. You can't possibly take that guy.
You can do whatever you want, but that one, I feel like the argument in my opinion, his volume argument, even if you're saying, okay, I'm projecting up, it's still, you will still need an unbelievable efficiency and a whole bunch of rushing touchdowns.
That team's going to be so good though.
Yes,
they're going to be
they will be,
good.
but the stat that I always go back to is the 1-to-1 pass rushing touchdown ratio. Mike Triplett, the beat reporter for the New Orleans Saints, who's a great follow on Twitter, even he has come out and said, I don't expect that to happen again.
Yeah, and I don't have him number 1.
Right.
I'm just saying that if somebody wants to take a shot at a player, I don't blame you.
You do you.
If I have the second pick in that draft, look, I'll be so happy.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So thank you for tuning in. Mock draft episode. Do not miss it. Coming Thursday. Check out the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, and check out draft.com/ballers to play some best ball.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.